Hey, what's up guys? Mortarman here, and I am back again with another video commentary, and this is going to be episode 2 of my Army stories. And a lot of you guys have been anticipating the series, and so I guess everyone is kind of anxious to see how it's going to go. I decided to do a little face cam action for you today with my one of my hats, and I've got one of my old shirts on. Now the hat's actually kind of new. It's one of those that I didn't wear. It's still actually got private rank on it, and it's kind of tight. It doesn't really fit my head very well, and I think the reason that it's still kind of new is because I guess it was too small to begin with, and I just never wore it. But it's only one I had here at the house. The rest of my shit's all in storage, you know, packed away, because really don't look at that stuff anymore. But I didn't want to throw it away. I'm keeping it forever. So here I am, my Army shirt, my hat. Thought it would fit the video. And so today's topic is going to be my battle buddy might be a terrorist. And I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking, what the hell, was your battle buddy, like, how in the hell would they think he's a terrorist if he's in the Army? So in the previous video, I talked about my battle buddy Markin, who is Russian, and when he came to the Army, he had a college degree. He had a college degree that he got here in the United States. He had been here long enough. He had immigrated here with his mother and had been here long enough to go to college and everything. And then he decided that he wanted to go to the Army. So let me express just exactly how intelligent Markin was. Markin was a very, very smart guy. In the Army, you have what you call a GT score. And the GT score basically is your military IQ. And Markin's military IQ, or GT score, was a 138, I believe. It maxes out at 140, and it's like unheard of for somebody to have 140. And to put that in perspective for you, my GT score was 110, which is not bad. That's actually pretty decent, but you don't hardly ever run across anyone that's got anything above a 120. So this guy was very intelligent. So anyway, we're in basic training. This story kind of fits right along about the time that I was telling you the story about the field jacket liner in episode 1. We're both fairly new in basic training. We haven't been there very long, and as you probably have heard, basic training can be pretty rigorous. It's really hard on you. I don't care if you're in the best shape of your life, if you're 18 and really skinny, or you can run forever, or if you got six-pack abs or whatever. It doesn't matter. There's no amount of training that can prepare you for what they're going to put you through basic training. So that's kind of setting the scene, to let you know exactly what's going on. Basic training is an ass kicking for anybody in any branch of service. It's tough. And so Markin and I, we've been assigned to one another as battle buddies. And anytime you're in basic training, there's a lot of like the other soldiers will pick on you if you're not good at something. Or if you're the slowest one, if you can't run very fast, they'll pick on you. If you can't do your push-ups or your sit-ups or your chin-ups or whatever it may be, they'll find something to pick on you. It's kind of like trolling in video games. There's a lot of trolls in basic training. Well, anyway, Markin got picked on a lot, and I would say at first Markin did not blend in very well. His English wasn't real good. He had a really kind of a bad, I wouldn't say bad accent, a strong accent, being from Russia, and hadn't been in the States very long, and so he got picked on a lot in basic training, and I had to put up with that, and it was my job as his battle buddy to it was both of our jobs to keep each other in line, and if he was getting shit, then I was getting shit. So it goes both ways, so we look out for each other, we take up for each other, and we fight for each other. And there was some fights in basic training. There was quite a few of them, and I got involved in some of that, but I don't. That's another topic, I guess. But anyway, so Markin was getting picked on a lot in basic training, but he started to shape up towards the end. You know, everything started going well, and he just like a switch went off in his head, and he started going all hardcore. I mean, this guy turned into a freaking machine. Like I don't know what it is. It just happened. There was no discussion about it or anything. He was just like, I guess he just said, "Fuck it. I'm tired of getting picked on, and I'm gonna become a fucking badass." So that's exactly what he started doing. Like he just started focusing really hard on his physical abilities and everything. He started talking back to the guys who were picking on him. You know, he kind of turned into a cocky asshole, I guess, but that's a good thing because it got him set straight. So anyway, we end up graduating from basic training, and we get stationed at our permanent change of station. PCS is what they call it, and so we go to our unit, and we're just getting there. Like, we hadn't been there but maybe a couple of days. You're getting checked in. They're assigning you to your barracks. You're getting acquainted with the staff, you know, and your superiors, and you're getting moved in, and then they tell you, you know, like where the motor pool is and where you're going to be working and all that kind of stuff. Kind of getting acclimated to what your new life is going to be like as a full-time, you know, soldier. And so I'd only been there like a few days, and my first sergeant, my squad leader comes and gets me and says, "Hey, the first sergeant wants to see you." I'm like freaking out because the first sergeant is a high enough rank that if you're in the Army and you're a subordinate to him, then that's somebody that you don't even speak to unless they speak to you. You've got no business even talking to them, and if you were to say something to them and break the chain of command, you're going to be in quite a bit of trouble. So anyway, when the first sergeant, you know, says he needs to see me, well, then I got to double time it to the company headquarters, and I got to go see what this is about. And I'm nervous as hell. I'm a new private, just out of basic training. I don't know my way around. I don't know what's going on. I think I'm in trouble. I get there. I go into his office, and he's all laid back and everything, like just casual, you know. And he's like, "So, McClung, why don't you have a seat? And I need to talk to you about something." And I'm thinking, you know, what's happened? Something bad's happened? Is one of my family members, you know, or something? I mean, am I going to get sent home or what? I didn't know what it was going to, you know, be like. He's like, "I need to talk to you about your battle buddy, Markin." I was like, "Okay, I can handle that, you know. Now I'm not so worried, you know." But he's like, "Well, we're concerned about Markin. We hear he's from Russia. We see in his you know, his file that he's from Russia. What can you tell us about him?" You know, and he started drilling me, asking me all these questions. You know, like what state that he was from in Russia, how long he had been in the United States, where he went to college, what was his mom and dad like, what was his relationship with his family like. Then he starts getting into some serious shit. Has he ever talked about killing anybody, or has he talked about putting harm on any other soldiers? Has he ever talked about you know, any kind of threats on any of the other soldiers whatsoever? Has he talked about suicide? I mean, he was asking me all these questions. I was like, he's never talked about any of that stuff. He's a normal guy. I don't know what the big deal is, you know. And so he was like, "Well, we're going to have to keep an eye on this guy because we have reason to believe that he may be a spy." And I know that you're probably thinking that that sounds a little ridiculous in this day and time, you know, like, I'm telling you, it's serious. I'm serious. Jason's laughing at me. He literally, those were the words that came out of his mouth. He said, "We have reason to believe that Markin may be a spy." I could not believe my ears when the dude told me. I was like, "You've got to be fucking kidding me."
But you had to be happy that it wasn't a...
Yeah, I was happy that I wasn't in trouble, and I was happy that, you know, one of my family members hadn't passed away, or I was getting kicked out of the Army for some shit that I didn't even know about. You know, I was happy about all that. But when I learned that they thought my battle buddy was a spy, I was like, "You gotta be kidding." So anyway, They also told me not to say anything to Markin about any of it. Just go about my business as normal. But they told me that I needed to report back to him directly. He said, I don't want you to talk to anyone else about this, just me. And so I was like, so I've got to break the chain of command and go to the first sergeant when I need to talk to him about Markin. I was like, okay, I can do that, you know. He's like, we need to know what his daily habits are like. We need to know who he talks to on the phone. We need to know where he goes, you know, when he's not with you. You know, because once you get to your unit, being a battle buddy is not really quite the same thing as it was in basic training. So you don't really have to go everywhere together, but you still are responsible for each other, if that makes any sense. So they wanted me basically just knowing exactly what he was doing at all times and all that kind of stuff, right? So
like a boyfriend girlfriend type thing.
It's kind of like, yeah, it's kind of like a marriage. Yeah, it's kind of like a marriage. So anyway, believe it or not, he didn't turn out to be a spy. Okay, I'll just end that right here. He didn't turn out to be a spy, but they were onto something, because this dude, he got a little crazy during basic training. I mean, while we were at our unit. And so he started doing that hardcore shit like he was back in basic training. And so he started starving himself. He started working out like in the middle of the night. Like I would wake up to go to the bathroom, and that fool would be in there on the floor doing sit-ups and push-ups, about to pass out. We went to the motor pool one day to go to work, and there's like these big metal containers that you see like in Modern Warfare 3 and Black Ops 2. Those are called Connexes. And there was a Connex down there that was empty, and one of our guys from the platoon happened to walk past there, and the door was cracked open or whatever. I don't know how they even found the guy in there, but Markham was in there doing push-ups and sit-ups. It was 100 degrees outside, and I know for a fact it must have been 130 or 140 inside that Connex, and that dude was in there doing push-ups and sit-ups. There was literally a puddle of sweat that he was standing in that you could sop up with a mop. I mean, and he was delirious from dehydration. And so my platoon sergeant pulled me aside, and he said, I thought you were supposed to be keeping an eye on Markin. I thought we were supposed to be keeping an eye on him, and I want to know what he's up to and all that kind of stuff, So, again, I had to report to the first sergeant about this whole thing again. I got in trouble for not keeping an eye on him and not telling them, updating them on what was going on with him. But that's what they basically put me on watch. I had to follow him around everywhere he went instead, doing other things. I had to be with him so that I could make sure that he wouldn't just drop down on the ground and start doing push-ups and sit-ups like at a moment's notice. And so he was doing that all the time, and they were concerned about his health. And you're on YouTube, by the way. I'm doing a video. So anyway, that's my mother. Okay. So anyway, I had to start keeping an eye on him, a closer eye on him, and so then it got even worse. It went from not only was he abusing himself physically, but they were worried about his mental health because he wasn't communicating very well with others. He was becoming a loner. He wasn't, just his daily routine was really weird. And so they ended up taking him to a mental hospital and getting him checked out. And he had to go to get all these evaluations and everything. And then they cleared him for a while. We started going on training missions and everything. And he took his rifle and pointed it at some people during a live fire exercise. And so he got in trouble for that. I got in trouble because I wasn't I'm responsible. And they ended up taking his rifle away from him. He wasn't allowed to go on any training missions that required rifles or live fire ammunition. And so that's at the point where they seriously considered that, okay, maybe he's not a terrorist, maybe he's just crazy, But it got worse even after that. I was out with some friends drinking at the club one night. And I come home to my barracks, and Markin was in there in the bathroom with the doors shut, and the water was running. And I couldn't get the door open, well, first, I had to pee because I'd been out drinking all night and everything, and I needed to get into the bathroom. And he had been in there for about 10 minutes or so, and I waited patiently. And finally, I went to go knock on the door, and he wouldn't answer the door. So I start banging on the door, like, dude, come on out, I got to use the bathroom. And he mumbled, I'll be out in a minute. And I guess maybe 30 minutes or longer went by, and he still hadn't came out, and I still couldn't get into the bathroom. And so finally, he did come out, and he was soaking wet from head to toe. He was had been like sticking his head underneath the water and stuff. He was trying to make himself throw up, and he couldn't hardly talk or anything. He was like on the verge of dying. His body was having a bad reaction because he had swallowed a whole bunch of pills, and so he had tried to commit suicide. And so the only thing I could do was to take him to the medic station, and we had actually in the building where we lived, there was some other medics who lived in the building, but this is like 3 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday night, and so if you're a soldier, you're probably not at home on a Saturday night or that late at night, right? So Markin couldn't hardly stand up, and he's a pretty big guy. He was 6 foot tall, 190 pounds, pretty big dude, and he couldn't hardly stand up, so I had to help him out the door and down the stairs and take him to the company headquarters so that they could call an ambulance. And so we're on the 3rd floor, and so I was trying to get him down the stairs, and I just wasn't able to, so I had to put him over my shoulder like they train you to do for a wounded or a dead soldier, how to carry them. So I had to carry him down 3 flights of stairs, and all this time I'm hollering, "Medic! Medic!" Trying to get one of the guys to come out of their rooms. And I laid him down on the concrete at the bottom of the stairs and started just banging on doors trying to get somebody to come outside. And luckily one of the medics did come outside, and he seen his condition. And by this time Markin was going into convulsions, and he had like foam and stuff coming out of his mouth. He was like having some type of a seizure or something. And so one of the guys ran full speed to the company headquarters and got them, and they ended up pulling an ambulance like right up to our building, right on the grass and everything, and took him. And so they told me later that if I hadn't got him out of the room and down those stairs, that he would have died, that I saved his life. And it's just kind of, I don't know, it didn't really set in on me that like it was that big of a deal at first. I didn't realize that it was that serious. But then they told me, when my platoon sergeant came the next day to get me to go to the hospital with him to see him, they said, yeah, he almost died. He overdosed on a bunch of sleeping pills and like Tylenol or something like that he got, stuff that you could get over the without a prescription. And so it turned out to be quite a big deal, and they had me go to the hospital so that I could talk to Igor's mother, because she was Russian, but she spoke a little bit of English, and I was the only person that really knew Markin, because he didn't really talk to anybody. He didn't hang out with anybody. He didn't really have any friends. I was the only person that he shared anything with. And so they wanted me to go to the hospital so that I could talk to his mother and his aunt, who was going to be there, so they could try to figure out exactly what was going on. But the story ends pretty good. Several months later, Markin was back to normal, healthy. He was still going to see a doctor. He had to go to the doctor for quite a while for psychiatric evaluation. He got his weapon and mission, training mission privileges back, and eventually put in for airborne school and PCS out to the 101st Airborne. So it all turned out pretty good. So I haven't talked to him since then. I haven't been able to locate him, so I don't know where he's at since we were in different units and everything. It's been so long ago, but I hope that he's doing good. But I hope you guys enjoyed the story. Yeah, so guys, I'll have episode 3 up probably on maybe Sunday, because we've got the podcast on Saturday. So I hope you guys enjoyed the story. I hope I didn't bore you too much. Hope you found it interesting. Like my Facebook, follow me on Twitter, leave a comment below, leave your opinions and thoughts, any requests, anything you want me to talk about. If I've got any related stories, I'll do the best I can to answer your requests. As always, guys, I want to thank you for watching the video, and have a great day.